It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a weekly podcast where we talk about everything that's great. Like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TVs, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris.
And my name is Superfan Jim.
And this week, we're covering almost all the news from D23 Brazil, at least the stuff relevant to the show. We don't need to talk about the Snow White footage or anything like that, even though we could if we wanted to. But we're going to bring up the new Captain America trailer featuring the Red Hulk. And Jim, you said you got to watch that beforehand, right? So you're well-versed on that.
Yep.
Awesome. Thunderbolts special look video, and we're going to learn who bought the Avengers Tower in that, it seems like. Pretty good. Jim, I know I just listened to you watch this. The What If Season 3 trailer, which dropped today, Monday, and more. So thank you. So thank you. We have Superfan Jim on the episode today. Mike's flight. We were going to record today anyway. Mike has been out of town. His flight got delayed 3 times, so he is traveling or not traveling at this point. I don't know. So thank you, Jim, Superfan Jim, for stepping up and being available to take a look at the show today.
It's always an honor.
Yes. You get to come in all the fun weeks, too. Like, whenever we have a bunch of big news, I'm like, ooh. It's never like a boring week where we have to like kind of make stuff up along the way. So I'm jealous, really. If I was only invited on the busy weeks, I'd have a good time. So thank you again.
Hey, you guys make podcasting look easy.
Oh, thank you. We can't even see us most of the time. We just do it naturally. But Jim, he's on his computer. He just picked up his computer, hopped right into this call. That's how easy podcasting is. Next thing you know, robots will replace us, right? That's what they're looking to do with AI. But anyways, I'm going to jump into what I did this weekend, Jim. And one of those is I went to the theaters to watch the debut of the English dub of the newest Dragon Ball series, Dragon Ball Daima. And if I remember correctly, about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, you reached out to me and said, Chris, if I bought the Dragon Ball Kakarot game, would that catch me up to speed on Dragon Ball Z? And I think my answer was, yeah, probably, but you'd be missing all the fun stuff along the way.
Right.
Did you end up buying that game, by the way?
Yeah, I've got it on PS5 and on Switch, and I'm maybe an hour in on both.
Okay. It's big. It's a big game. I think there's like over 250, maybe closer to 300 episodes of Dragon Ball Z, and to get that into a video game would just be wild. And as people who may or may not know me, I am a Dragon Ball fan. It's like one of the core pillars that defines who I am. I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, the original Blue Ocean studio dub before they went to the Funimation and had the voice actors we know now. Watched it so many times over and over again to the point where like they hadn't even dubbed some of the episodes in English yet, and you're just we're starting back over because they don't have them yet. And Dragon Ball Daima is the newest thing from the late creator Akira Toriyama, who passed away earlier this year. He had worked on this with the designs and the story, and it's at least 20 episode series. It's not a very long one, unlike Dragon Ball Super, which came out a few years ago and had I think 150 maybe 200 episodes as well. So it's going to be a shorter thing, but it's an interesting story. It takes place in between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. So you don't have to deal with any of the new history. It just kind of goes back and picks up where that left off. I need a timeline map to show everybody where this goes in here, if you want to watch it. But obviously Dragon Ball Z, that was in the 80s. That was late 80s in Japan, right? So like obviously we're 30, almost 40 years on. So we've come a long way with Dragon Ball, but it was fun to watch the first 3 episodes. They showed them straight at the movie theater with the English cast. I do not handle subtitled content very well, Jim, I'll be honest with you. It was fun to watch that. In this, the heroes of Dragon Ball are shrunk to first grader size. So they're all same age, but their bodies are now the size of first graders. So they revert back to kid voices along the way. So you get some kid actors. Some original like young Goku voice actor is back, Stephanie Naldoni, and yeah, it's just they're going into the demon realm of Dragon Ball, so it's opening up a whole unexplored world. It's been really the first 3 episodes were fun. I don't know when it's dropping in America proper, but it was just fun to go to the theater, buy myself a little Coke, kick back, and not really have to worry about anything, right? Just enjoying myself. Like, now I don't have to come in here and review it. I don't have to come and fight with people online about it. I'm just coming in here to talk about how much I enjoy Dragon Ball and how even, at 37, 38 years old, I'm getting brand new Dragon Ball content regularly, and that is very exciting for me.
I was going to tell you guys that, so at the high school I work at, I'm the head of the creative writing club. And the first thing we did was make posters to post around the schools to get people interested and excited about the club.
Uh-huh.
Kind of up the membership. And one of the kids drew a picture of Cell telling everyone to join the club.
Oh, that's awesome.
And posted that around, and I had somebody step in my room like, did Cell just tell me to join the creative writing club? I'm like, yeah, you probably better listen.
Yeah. Well, what's great about that is, and you can use that as an example, Jim, is that, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, we're all manga, right? Which is written content, essentially comic books for Japan.
Right.
And, it's written content. So if someone wanted to come in and make their own fan fiction for Dragon Ball, that's an opportunity in the creative writing club, right? Like that's a...
Yep.
Dragon Ball is a huge thing for fan fiction. I know I as a young person in the Yahoo groups and clubs, I would do some stuff like that occasionally, like when I was like 12 and 13. So like, it does exist. And obviously if it's a big property, a big moneymaker like Dragon Ball, like we just had Sparking Zero a month ago, the fighting game. And I'm like, this is even better.
Oh yeah.
So it's just, it's fun to have stuff I can still enjoy and still comes out with new content. And one of the things I will talk about this on Blue Face. There's also a series after Dragon Ball Z that came out in the 90s called Dragon Ball GT, which
I remember that one.
Yeah, other than the designs, it did not have any input from the creator Toriyama. It wasn't even in manga form. The company, I think Toei, I don't know how to pronounce it. The company who animates it came up with it and made it all in house. So it's kind of like Daima is kind of remaking it's Toriyama's version of GT if he would have been in control of it, which is fun. And I just don't care for GT. It is absolutely one of my least favorite things to watch. But as I like to tell people, because I'm getting new content that's good, it doesn't take away the bad content, but I don't have to dwell on it, right? I can always enjoy the things I did like. So to me, it's fun to still watch Dragon Ball Z. I've actually gone back and watched Dragon Ball, the original series. I never watched it growing up because they dubbed it after Z. So that's been fun to do that. So yeah. So Dragon Ball has almost as many episodes as Z. It's wild along the way. And then just to throw it in, because Mike's not here and he would hate this. I think I said last week or 2 weeks ago on the show, there are 13 Dragon Ball Z movies. And all the movies take place within a window of time in the series, but they are not canonical to the series because they contradict everything. They're just making these little short OVA movies, to tell a fun story. They don't have to tie in everything. They don't have to be, they don't care about continuity. They were like, we're having a fun time with the story. We have these new abilities with the characters. We can use them in here. And so what if it doesn't affect the main storyline? It's still a fun little what if tale, if you will, along the way.
Right.
So, but yeah,
I was just going to say that. I was going to mention that you said that Z is approaching 40 years old, and I've still got, 14, 15, 16-year-olds that are still watching it today.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Dragon Ball is, I think I forget the company that owns it. It's a yellow and red logo. I can see it. It's like their biggest money maker right now. I think One Piece was last year, and now Dragon Ball's back again this year. It's just universal. Oh, really? I know when the creator Akira Toriyama had passed away unexpectedly earlier this year, like even the Mexican cartel was like tore up because like apparently in Mexico they'll sit around and watch Dragon Ball Z. Like they really like the show down there in the cartel. So I'm like, this is interesting how much this like it just goes over everything, right? So
right,
it's wild. But Yeah, so I don't know when Dragon Ball Daima comes out. It'll probably come to Netflix. I think the subtitle version is on Netflix currently for people who want to watch that. But then the dubs come out. Should be any month now. If they're on episode 5 of the subtitles, I have 3 English, so I assume they'll probably be almost 1 in 1 step or a week behind, sooner than later.
Right.
But let's jump into some real news, Jim. How about that? How about some real comic book movie?
Right.
Comic book news, and we're gonna start off. D23 happened down in Brazil this week. D23 Brazil, first one ever. We briefly brought up last week. We never know what to expect, and especially when you go down to South America, what are they going to talk about? What are they going to do? And Mr. Feige himself was out and about, hats and all, Jim, talking with people, rubbing elbows with the panels down there. And someone asked him, "Hey, what are you going to do with Miles Morales? You Marvel owns the character, but Sony's got him in movies. What's going on?" And he confirmed that Miles will appear in a third Spider-Verse film. Beyond the Spider-Verse, as it was
previously
called, before they just didn't make it yet. And then hopefully, right. And then he said, hopefully shortly after, enter the MCU in live action. So it sounds like he's got like a couple earmarked pages for Miles coming up before too long.
Oh, that brings the question: are they going to have Tom Holland to be the mentor? Mm-hmm. To a Miles Morales, or is it going to be kind of like they're coexisting but not really interacting?
No. Well, thankfully, the in the comic books, there's a precedent for both of those characters to kind of do that a little bit. I believe, I don't have this on hand. I don't know if it's been like officially confirmed, but like Tom Holland signed on for several Avengers movies and several solo movies, right, with Marvel and Sony. So once they get to the next Spider-Man, which is set in between Doomsday and Secret Wars, it'll probably be some sort of, resolution of Doomsday getting into Secret Wars. And I think maybe by the next Tom Holland movie, his 5th movie, second of this new trilogy, they could introduce him lightly into it, right? Like, how are we going to set up a Miles? How do we get him bitten by a spider? We never even saw this Peter Parker bitten by a spider, right? He was already just Spider-Man. Right. So bringing him in there. You've played the video games on PlayStation 4 and 5. They've done a great job with Miles, lightly in the first one, heavily in the second one. So there's a lot of opportunity to mimic that. But this sounds exciting, right? Like once they get done with that third movie, that new 90-day Sony clause, or 30-day Sony clause after it hits DVD, they can be live action. Sounds like they're going to lean on that pretty heavy here.
Good. But the main question, the one that's on everyone's mind, is: did Feige have a Miles Morales hat?
Yeah, I don't think he did. I don't think he did down there. So D23. Let me see. I didn't even think about looking what hat he has because I have all the hats. So it looks like it's a Spider-Man / anti-Venom hat, but it looks like maybe it's an older one here. D20. I need to type in D23 Brazil. That's my problem. We're doing research live on the show, folks. He wore a Fantastic Four hat. He wore his Fantastic Four hat to this one.
Oh yeah. No, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think he also has on an Avengers hat, which it just could be the images. It's hard to tell from this, but he definitely has a Fantastic Four hat on from the panel one, so that makes sense. Also, while he was down there, he was talking a little bit about Blade, because recently we talked about the movie being removed from the release schedule. Probably going to be just a year back, probably that November 2026 date, which is still on the calendar for Marvel. But Kevin Feige, he confirmed Blade will make it to the MCU, and he said that, I'm going to say it's most likely going to be Mahershala Ali. It's not going to be Wesley Snipes. He's like, we love Mahershala's character. He's excited. We're all excited with the direction it's going. I also heard rumors through like reports or scoopers that like it's like the film most ready to be in production next. So it could hit production early next year and make that 2026 release date as well, right along the way.
So yeah, I'm just at this point worried that Mahershala Ali is going to age out before he even gets to play him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how old is he? Let's see.
I mean, he's a little bit older, isn't he?
He's 50 years old as of this year.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. And how old's Wesley Snipes? How old is Wesley Snipes? 62. Really, not that much of a difference, is there?
No, not really.
If you go back, so he might age out, but maybe Blade's not a trilogy. Maybe in the comic books they've recently introduced Blade's daughter, right? Or handing off the Midnight Sun stuff. So I don't want to say that because that's going to get the internet people, all the neckbeards, riled up, Jim, about it. If you say his daughter's going to take over, but every character doesn't need a trilogy. Every character does not need a trilogy. They just need to be in here and get on with it. So maybe they'll get into that and kind of move them on pretty quickly. But if you put them 50 to 62 is 12 years, right? That's a pretty good run. Robert Downey Jr. did 10 years of Marvel, so give him 10 years. He's 62. He's the same age as Wesley Snipes is now. Probably be okay, right? Because Wesley Snipes looked good in the Deadpool one. I just don't think he could do another 10 years of it.
No, I don't. I think that would take a toll.
Yeah. I don't think so either. But
then again, they're going to keep Hugh Jackman until he's 90.
Yeah, well, he doesn't look a day over 25, Jim. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
He looks more and more like the character the older he gets. So I don't know how he pulls it off. But
yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, but for the Blade fans, I do know he is coming, and he's probably going to be voicing a character in the upcoming What If season. We'll talk about later as well. So we've got some opportunity to see him. I think. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if he's really not part of the deal anymore, would they at this point try to redub those lines or just keep them for that?
I think they keep them. I mean, to say people are watching What If who are very invested in the MCU live action movies is probably a stretch, right? We are a small portion of the normal consumer, Jim, who watch these shows. So I would assume people who are watching that probably not putting two and two together right now.
Right.
And I believe we talked about it. It's actually Marvel Zombies, where it's Blade with the Moon Knight powers, not What If. So,
yeah, that's right.
So they may not even. I didn't see his mouth. He had a mask over himself the whole time, so it might be easy to even dub his lines if they wanted to with the sound alike along the way, or they just keep him. I think it'll be fine. I have little concern. I feel like if they said, "Hey, we're not doing this. We've parted ways," I think that would be a different story because they've done that with a few directors so far. But I think right now it's just like we're trying to focus on getting out of the multiverse, and Blade doesn't fit into the multiverse storylines, right?
Right.
So we'll do that. But characters who do fit into the multiverse storyline, that is a Fantastic Four. And I don't have it here because it is a leaked footage. It is screen capped. But at D23 Brazil, they have revamped the San Diego Comic-Con footage that was also leaked that no one's seen. So in this leak footage, if you search it up, I think it was on Reddit, instead of like test footage from San Diego Comic-Con, they actually have the real footage, like the real actors. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, and like it's like, hey, they shot this for the movie rather than just the test footage that they showed there, which is really cool to see.
Cool.
There's a bunch more of a big crowd watching them take off this big spaceship. Nothing on the Thing just yet. That's what everyone wants to see, right? The Thing moving around. We want to see Johnny Storm turn on to the Human Torch. We want to see the powers. They didn't have that yet, but the powers are just kind of a side, I guess, a portion of the Fantastic Four. The dynamic between Marvel's first family, how they act, how they interact, and this 1960s futuristic, universe with a huge Galactus who was still at the end of this trailer, which is awesome, is really where it's going to come to life, right?
Right. And so the question is, are they going to be in their own timeline, if you want to call it that, dimension?
Yes.
The entirety of the film, or is it going to be like half that and half like, I guess I'll call it like the Blast from the Past, the Brendan Fraser movie from the 90s?
Well, I assume they'll probably, my guess is, Jim, and this is just purely speculation, is that they're going to forego the long intro. Oh, these are the characters before they're together. This is them getting their powers, and then this is them after they get their powers, right? We've seen that. 3 times right now. If you look back on this, so I think we're gonna get them older. I think the rumors that Sue and Reed have Franklin Richards already, a baby, is going to be in there, and we're gonna like maybe get some flashbacks to how they got their powers and how they got to where they are, because they seem like more superstars in this universe than just like fresh off the ship new power people.
Right.
I did find myself briefly watching the 95 Fantastic Four the other day, and while I do love Michael Chiklis' suit, that movie does not hold up very well still. It's fine. It's not the worst thing in the world. That's 2014's Fan Forsic or whatever it was. What 2015's Fan Forsic. But I'm excited to see this vamp. It feels like it's got a vision. Like, I'm so hyped. You hear this. They have their own musical score, Jim. You hear the score. You see the vision. Like, someone like Matt Shackman, he's making a retro futuristic 1960s world that these characters live in. And it's not just like your everyday outside stuff. And it's going to be visually spectacular. I'm really excited to see these characters pop off with each other in there, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And not to be too big of a neckbeard myself, but I think you meant 2004.
What did I say?
For the
94?
Fantastic Four. 94.
I was thinking of the 94 unreleased movie, actually.
The Corman one.
Yeah. Well, he was just a producer. He wasn't the director. But I watched that when I went to visit Mike earlier this summer in June. So that one's interesting. It's on YouTube for free. It's VHS quality, never unreleased. But we've had a lot of Fantastic Four over the past several decades, so we're due for a good one coming up next year.
Right.
Moving on to the official release stuff. First and foremost, we got a brand new Captain America Brave New World trailer. And this is the second trailer. We had our first one a while back. It had that really Winter Soldier vibe, right? The black and white redacted lines, the ticking sound, really, really heart racing. This one leans a little bit more into some of the action scenes here, showing, Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson, land with his white vibranium suit, and then the sound shockwave of the sound barrier catching up with him, hitting people.
Oh yeah.
Cutting, was it missiles in half with his wings? And
no, I think it was oh yeah. I was thinking the car.
Yeah, no, that's you get. He cut a car too, and then we're going to talk about another person flipping a car in the next trailer. So there's a lot of cool stuff kind of going on in this, and then obviously you are a Harrison Ford fan of epic proportions, bigger than this show.
Yes.
You like him more than you like our show, and I get it. I'll take that. I understand. But he's in this trailer a couple times, and then obviously we see even more Red Hulk footage than before in this.
Right. And what caught me about this was that based off of this, it almost seems like he's involuntarily a Hulk, or didn't know that he was.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like he's not controlling the transformation a little bit. He looks like kind of shocked, if you will, along the way. Yeah.
But I was just gonna say, I'm really happy that they confirmed the I guess you call it his heat powers or heat.
Like he radiates heat off of his skin, kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool that they kept that.
Oh yeah, I mean it's really interesting to see how well they've crafted, again their Hulks over the time at Marvel, right? And then how much you see Harrison Ford in this big red body, kind of thing. So it's really cool. And then we get to see, obviously. It feels a lot like the Winter Soldier. Anthony Mackie's getting arrested by the government for something. There is, someone behind the scenes in a house. I really enjoyed the split screen effect for some of the trailer, where it's like you see one scene on one and one on the other. So really showing the opposite ends of Harrison Ford, his Thunderbolt President Ross, his agenda versus, Anthony Mackie just trying to be Captain America and do what's right along the way.
Which I wonder, as you guys have made very clear before, Marvel loves to lie to us in trailers.
They do.
So I wonder if the conflict between Cap and Ross is actually as deep as what the trailer's making it out to be,
Uh-huh.
or if they're using a sleight of hand of like, this is going to be ancillary to what's really going to happen.
Yeah, they've been showing off. You can hear the voice of Tim Blake Nelson's the leader, who last
Yep.
played him in the Incredible Hulk in 2008. Yeah, I'm excited to see how much of this is, actually, the Red Hulk. Is the Red Hulk at the end of the movie? Is it the beginning of the movie? How much of this are they actually going to give us? We get to see Giancarlo Esposito in there. He says Captain America caught without his wings. An interesting scenario. We know that's been added to the movie in the reshoot. So, man, I've got some good feelings. This feels pretty good, right? Coming up on this.
Oh yeah.
We are 3 months away. February 14th. We are coming up on 3 months away, and it doesn't feel like 3 months. It's
No,
still,
not at all.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, man. It feels like 6 months to 6 to 8 months away, but it is 3 months away before we get to catch this.
Right. No, I mean the fact that it's not a summer movie, it makes me happy as all get out. So I don't have that much longer to wait for more Harrison Ford goodness.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, when they first, especially coming off of Falcon and Winter Soldier, the series,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with I thought it was okay, but it did not live up to what it could have.
Right.
I think if the movie delivers on the promise that the trailer is making, I think we're going to get what we wanted out of that show in this movie.
Yeah, and I think to that point, the point was like, hey, we have two people who could have been Captain America, right, in the comics, Bucky and Sam, and who really deserves it, and everything else around it's ancillary. But I think this movie and our next topic are going to pay off that show, not just Captain America: Brave New World, but also Thunderbolts, which we'll talk about in a second. I don't want to cut you off, but you're right. Like I think we're finally getting the payday off that show.
Yeah, and I was just going to say like, yeah, they're going to deliver on the promise the show made, even though maybe the show didn't execute it all that well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I think Anthony Mackie's fairly good as Sam Wilson. I'll agree with you guys that some of his other stuff is a little lacking, but no, I'm truly excited to see this, and not just for Harrison Ford or a Red Hulk. I mean, like even if he wasn't in it, I think they've set up a very interesting, almost I don't want to say political thriller in the way that the Winter Soldier was, but it has a lot of those vibes,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it'll be interesting to see how that pays off.
Right. And then they're not they're hiding it a little bit, but they're not shying away. You get to see the celestial hand in the background of some of these shots too. The Tiamat with the adamantium confirmation. We just got Deadpool and Wolverine, so now we're getting adamantium proper in the MCU. What will that lead to? Right? We had the discovery of vibranium, and that's still being safeguarded by Wakanda. But what happens when you have international waters, right? And a big hand with a new metal. What does that come out of? So what are they hiding here? What adamantium weapon MacGuffin are they going to create to maybe defeat the Red Hulk, or help Sam Wilson keep up with all the actual powered superheroes in this universe?
Oh, that was the other thing I was going to hit on. Yeah, was how we handle a quote unquote Captain America, which again we'll talk about here in a minute with Thunderbolts, but without superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if those wings that are cutting everything in half might not be adamantium.
You think they might be adamantium then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if you want to call it like his final form at the end,
Yeah.
that might be the upgrade that he gets.
Yeah, I mean they tend to Marvel tends to upgrade all the outfits. This is the traditional red, white, and blue outfit, right? The traditional Captain America, not the white one we ended off the show with, which I think will be early on in this with the vibranium suit. So yeah, it very much could be. It could be that. Maybe he gets damaged battling the Hulk or somebody early on, and he has to get a new one. But I'm loving this vibe. If they can deliver on the political thriller like they did with Winter Soldier, I think we'll all be pretty happy, right, with this. And then paying off the Incredible Hulk characters after, literally, well, it's 2025, so 17 years worth of that. So, boy, we were in for a treat. Then that follows up directly, Jim, with a special look delivered for the Thunderbolts movie, which is coming out next May. This is our first summer movie. And the special trailer we have in here, it starts off. It's actually 3 minutes and 40 seconds. I just pulled it off. It starts off with a big desert chase with Red Guardian driving a car and being chased by some people. And then they're caught up by the Winter Soldier himself on a motorcycle. Bucky being the absolute most badass he's been in a long time, Jim. This is almost, I would say, Karen haircut Bucky, but that's a negative connotation. But he's got his Karen hair like he had in Civil War. I just watched Civil War last night, the scene where he was activated and had to fight his way, to the helicopter with Steve. So it was really cool to see that, and then come back to this Bucky. Sure, we had short hair Bucky in Falcon Winter Soldier, and he got over his brainwashing. Good, got character development, but this is the one I want to see where he's blowing up cars, he's yanking chains, flipping cars over. At the end of this trailer, Jim, he protects somebody by jumping in front of them using his vibranium arm to flip a car over. So like he has, and then they have a conversation about how he has like super soldier serum in him, right? Like he's like, I don't know, the Hydra kind. So they are confirming, he is a little stronger than usual. Well, it does not feature the Sentry in the special look. I love all of the character dynamics going on here. So many. The Red Guardian, Ghost, Bucky, Black Widow, U.S. Agent, and Taskmaster. Everybody in this, they're just going. No one's happy, but they're funny. They're deadly. I'm in love, Jim. What are you thinking?
I'm going to jump off what you're saying, because that was the first thing that hit me is everyone's so damn charming in this. It's really easy to root for them, even if they're quote unquote, some of them are the bad guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, Red Guardian is just, man, David Harbour is just gold.
Mm-hmm.
And I still like Florence Pugh I always thought she did great.
Yeah.
As was it Elena?
Yelena, yeah. I mean,
Yelena, that's it. Yes,
she was even a scene stealer in Hawkeye, right? When she was eating the mac.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, I don't doubt any of them for a second, but at the same time, it's like you almost want to be friends with them the entire time too.
Yeah.
Even U.S. Agent.
Yeah.
I was like, he was kind of a stain in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and in this, it's like, all right, this guy's pretty cool.
Right. And the problem with all those shows where they had TV producers or movie producers running TV shows, and that's where everything kind of got convoluted. But now, again, it feels like you've got these people. We know who U.S. Agent is. Thankfully, we don't have to introduce him. But like now they can utilize them in a movie scenario, right? Like, oh yeah, he is hired. He's a hired gun. They even say, don't they go to this like, what do we all do? We all just punch and shoot each other. Is that all we do? Kind of thing. Like, there's like no real powers in here, right? Like they're not super powered. They might have super soldier serum, but they're not like Captain Marvel, right? They're not like Doctor Strange level. They're just mercenaries in this, and to me that's really fun. It's just a fun dynamic. And then we get the big confirmation here, and I went pretty thorough with this on the first trailer a couple months ago, is that Julie Louis-Dreyfus Valentina confirms that her and whoever she works for bought the Avengers Tower, Jim. Like we finally got confirmation who the new owners are. We got to see again Tony Stark's bar there in the background, and I don't know what part of the movie this is in. Is this early? Is this late? Is this the midpoint where she sends them on a journey? I don't know, but we will get to see this quote unquote new Avengers Tower. I'm predicting still years later it's going to be new Avengers at the end of this movie.
You think it'll be new Avengers, or are they going to call it Dark Avengers?
Oh, it'll be new Avengers. I don't think they're Dark Avengers yet. I don't think they've earned that. I think the Dark Avengers will be when somebody actually sends them off to do something. If they have this big visible tower, they're not going to call themselves Dark Avengers, right? So,
yeah, I was thinking like Now that you say that, yeah, because they're advertising. But I was gonna be like, maybe they're more the stealth wet work team, so that's why they're dark. Not like they're evil, just
Right. Yeah.
stealth.
Yeah, and I think just there's just
But
too much
no, I agree with you
visibility.
now.
Yeah. Um, hopefully we get that right. A dark Avengers or like X Force, down the road, would be
Yeah.
huge for something like that. And maybe in Secret Wars or Doomsday they become a, Black Ops proper team along the way. But I was surprised they gave us 3.5 minutes and not a single Sentry sign in this, Jim. I've crawled through this like it's nobody's
really?
business looking for Sentry, and I just can't find him, and it's eating me up because they know that's all I want. They know that's what I want. That's the problem. They know that's what I'm looking for here, along the way. But it sounds like you had a good time watching it. You just watched it here before it kicked off, and
Oh yeah, it was great. And I'll admit, when they announced it, I was like, I need to have more faith in Marvel, I think, than what I am. Because when they announced it, the first thing I thought was, I enjoyed this the first time I saw it when it was the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
and this is totally different.
Yeah, it doesn't feel. Again, trailers lie. Trailers cut things out. Hopefully it isn't a Suicide Squad. The first Suicide Squad, second one, awesome. James Gunn did a good job with that. So it doesn't feel like that because it feels like these guys are working together to save people a little more. But at the same time, I could see the similarities along the way, right? The comparison. Right. So, but
it's not lost on me either that they've made us cheer on two Soviet era superheroes.
Yeah. Are you talking Winter Soldier and Red Guardian?
Oh, well, and Yelena too.
Yeah.
So the three.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. And then obviously Taskmaster, another Black Widow, if you will.
Yep.
So yeah, this is definitely a team that's spinning off of the movie Black Widow proper, but it's paying off Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then also Ant-Man and the Wasp as well.
Right.
Include that in here. So I'm excited. This is May 1st. They got big hopes for it, launching off the summer movie system. So coming off of the single movie this year, having 3 next year, Captain America, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four. They're living. They've got some big plans along the way. Moving on.
Yeah, if like I said, if the trailers are any sort of signal of what we have in store, we've got some pretty quality movies coming up.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Super Bowl trailer. Maybe we'll get that first Sentry look in February.
Oh,
yeah. Moving on into Marvel Television, Kevin Feige, I believe it was saying that he's out there. He's like, we are making more multi-season shows like real television now because they're operating like a real television studio with Marvel Television banner. They got real TV people, writers' rooms, all that fun stuff. And they did confirm that Daredevil is the first MCU show to get a second season like this. Now, I immediately, I'm like, they already did this with Loki. So I get it. But Loki was operated under the old kind of multi-season approach. They didn't have season 2 planned out when they were doing season 1. It felt like, right? It felt like season 2 came up kind of later. I could be 100% wrong, and they could have done it exactly like that, and it rock and rolled. Good for them. But it sounds like they're like, hey, we want to make multi-season shows. We need to plan for multi-seasons and do that at the beginning rather than try to fix them or add them in at the end. So if they said Daredevil season 2 is going to be filming by the time Daredevil season 1's out. It's great. Is there any other show that's been announced or in the works that you would love to see get a second season so far?
You're gonna have to remind me of which ones they've announced. Actually,
well, I mean, we know Ironheart is in the works. They really haven't announced a whole lot. My first response is going to be Moon Knight, Jim. I think Moon Knight to me deserves a second season. Hawkeye is a close second for me, simply because he's still legacy.
Yes, I will agree with that. Yeah. I had a lot of fun with Hawkeye, and I think that they could spin off with that. I don't necessarily think that we need an Echo season 2, but I wouldn't mind seeing her character come back in maybe a Daredevil or another Hawkeye season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, nope. I'm pretty much like just my blinders are on for all Daredevil right now. To be honest, uh, that trailer has me so geeked out right now. I just can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah, we are due. It'll be, like I said, almost 10 years to the date from when season 1 came out. So I can't believe I'm saying that, right? We've got 10 years of Daredevil, and really it'll still be all kind of connected when it comes out. So
Right.
I need to really get on that season 3 and catch up on that before that comes out. And I think it's April, right? March 4th. March.
Yeah. Yep.
So we are coming up on all these. That's going to be. That's 4 months away. You're 3 months to a movie, 4 months to a show. 6 months until another movie. I mean, we're going to be eating good next year. Ain't always going to be like this, Jim. Next year is going to be the last full year for a while, but it'll be fun while we get it, right? So
Yeah, they're spoiling us.
yeah. But to wrap up the end of this year, we get What If Season 3, and What If Season 3 is the final season. We got a trailer today, Monday, right when we recorded this earlier today, and we got to see it. And really, this is probably my favorite trailer for What If I had to pick one out of the last 3 seasons, because this feels truly like a better What If season than any of the other ones even, right? Like season 1, it wasn't that, I always say this, it wasn't that good. The What Ifs were very minor. Season 2 got better, but like we get to see, like I'm going to go through this. We get to see Arishem of the Eternals, Agatha Harkness. We get to see multiple Watchers. Kahori's returning from season 2. A White Vision. Mysterio hooked up to a bunch of wires. Shang-Chi Cowboy. We get Power Rangers level combiner mech suits, Jim, in this.
Yeah.
Like,
Avenger Assemble.
Yeah, and we a Moon Knight mech suit, a Red Guardian mech suit, Captain America. I want to know how these mech suits came to be and what they're fighting. And then how they combine, like, oh my gosh, it just gives me so geeked talking about this stuff. So this is really fun. And then obviously the biggest thing, this ended with the reveal that Storm from X-Men 97, or at least the voice actress, is coming over. They're introducing Storm as the wielder of Mjolnir in this. She is coming in, wielding that thing, being the goddess of thunder, Jim. I absolutely love that reveal in here.
Yeah, and I'm fairly sure that was an issue of What If back in the day, was it not?
It could have been.
That seems familiar.
I couldn't tell you. I definitely don't know. And then I've also linked to the Instagram post here with the new poster, and it looks like we might have also Namor. I know there's a Bucky / Red Guardian team up from like the 80s, Jim, so you're gonna be happy to see that.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to see kind of the preview of these characters, so I'm thrilled. Like 8 episodes, it's the last season. As I say, it's the final season of What If. You can't hold anything back now, and it sounds like they're literally gonna go all out for this.
But I gotta say, I was surprised that they, even from season 1 through here, that they make it a connected narrative. Because I anthology show where it's just like, well, what if this happened, and what if this happened, and that's it. After your 1 episode, it's over.
Right.
So for it to reach so far, even into Doctor Strange, the movie, Multiverse of Madness, that I mean, it's a lot bigger of a deal than I anticipated it to be when it first released.
Yeah, and also if you remember, there was an episode of X-Men 97 that had the Watcher in it, right? The episode before the massacre on Genosha. So absolutely, like they are really trying to tie this together as much as they can, and I love the designs of some of these characters. I know they're MCU likenesses. The actors are the voice actors in this. That's great. I was more worried about that, right? Because some actors aren't voice actors. You don't get them all,
right?
But it looks like obviously the other Watchers will catch up to this Watcher in this universe, because I think that's how it'll end. But one of the things is also the multiverse of Marvel is coming to an end, right? This is the multiverse arc. We are coming up on Secret Wars and Doomsday. So they've got to end it. They got to go big, and I'm excited to see how this wraps up at the end of this year. It'll be a nice little Christmas present for us to watch them all at the end of the year over break.
Speaking of that, did they announce they're going to release them like they did last year, where it's one a day, or is it just going to be?
They have not yet. I think we'll probably get a little bit more, probably the start of December, the release date schedule.
Okay.
But speaking of your creative writing club, a what if scenario is very much a creative writing scenario, right? Like most of those what if scenarios are probably like, hey, can I just do like my own creative thing with these characters? And they're like, yeah, just make it a what if. We don't have to connect it to anything else.
Exactly.
So very fun, very excited, very, very dynamic trailer. You can check out that link in our show notes. Moving on to Star Wars. We're going to be in Star Wars for a little bit here. First and foremost is the Andor Season 2 release date that was announced. It's coming April 22nd, 2025. So
Nice.
Right after Daredevil wraps up, we go into Andor Season 2. First, this was for the Disney Plus mobile app, but they did announce this officially later on, and it's the day or 2 days after Star Wars Celebration, which is April 18th to 20th. So sounds like they'll have a big send-off for Andor there, and we'll get into Season 2, which will be the last season because it leads into Rogue One, the last 3 days up until Rogue One, it said as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
One of the other minor changes they did, they on the poster for this, it says Andor, a Star Wars story now. I think for people who may not know that Andor was Star Wars related, they've added that in minor text on the upcoming logo.
Oh, gotcha. Now, I've got to admit that, and this is going to drop my street cred a bit, but I have not watched Andor Season 1 yet.
Well, you've got plenty of time before Season 2.
True. I know my harder core Star Wars fan friends have yelled at me for that for years now, but it just wasn't one I could get into. And I don't think that's from, lack of lightsabers or anything. It was just,
Yeah.
I think, what is it? The first 3 episodes are pretty dry, and then after that it's supposed to pick up.
The end of the third one really sets the stage in motion, or sets everything in motion from there. So I felt the same way. The first one was like, yeah, fine, I'll watch 2. Okay, 3. Okay, I'm in. And I watched it. I had the flu. I was like house ridden flu. Like it was like Thanksgiving. My wife and I, we were both sick. We didn't go anywhere, so we just sat and binge watched this whole show in a day. That's how good it was, Jim. Once it picks up that 3rd episode, you're like, okay, I get it now, and then it goes on. Eben Moss-Backrack, who's playing the Thing, is in a couple of the episodes in the middle of the season. Right? Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. He is Gollum. Andy Serkis. Is the main character.
Andy Serkis, yep.
In the middle of it as well. There's like 4 mini story arcs, and they are really 3 episods. So they're like 4 mini movies along the way. And I really think they're a good time. They had no right to be that good. We've always on this show said that when we're wrong, we trashed the show before it came out. Why do we need a prequel for a character we know how to die? Tony Gilroy blew through our expectations. So I think if you treat them as mini movies, you'll be a lot better kind of along the way with that.
Right, kind of the old Clone Wars setup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
the
exactly.
Episode like three episode arcs.
Yeah, no, exactly, and they take that to heart here, and really, Tony Gilroy, I know him mostly again from his movies, so like maybe his experience writing movies is what gave them the 3 mini episodes ideas, right?
Right.
So, highly recommend it. Great show, and hopefully you get into it in Season 2 coming in April. It was supposed to come out, I think, this October originally before the writer's strike last year. So, being delayed, 6 months or so isn't too bad at the end of the day to get that out there. So,
right.
Really crossing our fingers. Season 2 delivers.
Yeah, I'll make you a deal. I'll watch Andor Season 1 if you watch Daredevil Season 3.
Okay, done. I was going to watch it anyway, so sold. You've got me here. You made it. Yeah, you just played fiddle against the devil. That's what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think again we've got time. We both have until April, right? Or March. So I think it's if you get some downtime over the holidays, I think once you get past that first 2 episodes, that 3rd episode will really treat you right. So
right. Okay. Fair enough.
So we're going to keep going into Star Wars, and this is where it gets a little testy on the internet these days. And for me, I don't care what the internet says, because all the too many loud people on the internet are just negative. But apparently at Lucasfilm, episodes 10 through 12 are in the works, and they have probably spearheaded Simon Kinberg to produce these movies. Now I don't know if he's writing or what. I do know he's producing as well. And you might be like, Simon Kinberg, why him? He did horrible things such as X-Men Apocalypse, or he directed Dark Phoenix. Then, and he was an original writer on Fan Four Stick. Why would you get Simon Kinberg? Fair assessment. However, he's also the co-creator and writer of Star Wars Rebels, along with Dave Filoni. He was a consultant on The Force Awakens and Rogue One movies, a creative consultant for those. He also has movies such as he did write X-Men Days of Future Past and the original Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So, so he does have some hits in there, and from what I've heard from the trades, he knows how to speak to executives in a room, right? He knows the words on executives. I was gonna say he had experience with Magic Blood, like the X-Men, kind of thing, similar to the guy who works with Chris, Snyder, who works with Snyder, Goyer. So
David Goyer.
David Goyer does all the Magic Blood stuff, but like that's just more of a joke, but like Simon Kimber, he has, he's worked with Star Wars in the good side of Star Wars, right? So he might be able to come forward with Star Wars. And one of the big notes of this trade is that these episodes will most likely not continue the Skywalker saga, but move the universe forward. So 10, 11, 12 will use Rey, maybe just in 10, as the Obi-Wan of this trilogy, right? Like kind of a use sparingly, mentor, guide in a direction, but like the new main characters will not be anything related to the Skywalker lineage, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. As long as she doesn't become possessed by some dark force from outer space and become OP.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just true. So I don't think so. My understanding is the Rey movie is still happening as well. That will focus on her, and she will just kind of be there. Like this doesn't take anything off the table. Like the Mandalorian and Grogu is still happening. There is what's his name? The guy who just did Deadpool and Wolverine. He's got a movie, right? Oh no, I'm sorry. It actually wasn't. It's the Harrison Ford. Who just did Indiana Jones? That guy, the new Indiana Jones movie.
Mangold.
James Mangold,
right?
Yeah, he's still got his history. Then the Rey movie with Charmin Obaid-Chinoy. I probably butchered her name. Either way, those movies are still there, but like to continue a main saga rather than one-off movies, that's what they're looking for here.
Right. Well, and I was just trying to make a shitty joke that I don't want him to turn Star Wars into Dark Phoenix.
Oh, absolutely. No, I absolutely agree with you. And I think the problem is, say what you want about Simon Kim. His movie, I don't like X-Men Apocalypse. It makes me ill. Dark Phoenix is I forgot it even existed, Jim, until I read his list of movies here. And Fantastic Four, not fun. But the guy knows how to build a world. Like the X-Men world, whether you like them or not, like you're like, yeah, I know what the X-Men movies are, and I know what I'm getting into, right? With Bryan Singer and Bryan Singer directed 2 of them. He directed Dark Phoenix, but like I'm like he could build the world around it. So, but he's done all the good stuff with Star Wars, so maybe he's just not good for X-Men. Maybe he's good for Star Wars, right? That kind of thing. So like, I don't want to beat the guy. I don't want to beat the guy with a stick yet, because we've been like, again, we just talked about Andor proving us wrong, completely wrong in Star Wars. But it would be great for them to come out with an episode 10, get everyone excited, and do what the Force Awakens did for new characters, right? Again, like Force Awakens is good, but if one person is in charge of 3 episodes, that's going to give us more cohesion. than what we got from the previous one, which was just 3 directors saying make a trilogy but don't talk to each other in a room.
Right.
So
just reacting to the fans.
Yeah, well, the first one was Force Awakens. It's not my favorite Star Wars movie by any means. It just plays on nostalgia, which is what J.J. Abrams did. That's fine. People love it. It's got a lot of good moments. Then you get into Rian Johnson's, but like they didn't feel like they were connected as much as they should have been, right? Like the Last Jedi is a very sticking point for a lot of people. I don't care how you feel about it. If you look at it objectively, it feels like these 2 guys were not talking about the same story. When in reality, you should have someone. Again, they have Dave Filoni in the chief creative role, trying to connect these lines better. Like, this is what the universe is, and here's a story you have to tell along the way. And they didn't have that there. And then they got rid of I forget the guy who had for the third one, Colin Trevorrow. They got rid of him and brought J.J. Abrams back, who doubled down on nothing good. In the end
nostalgia.
Yeah, it just didn't end very well. So it's just one of those situations where, like, if there's one person and maybe he's not writing them, maybe Kinberg's not writing, he's just producing them, right? He's working with Lucasfilm to find the right people to tell the right stories along the way. I think there's an opportunity here to be successful, and that's my optimistic take on this. That's me being very, very super califragilistic XP optimistic.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. I think to have one sustained vision through all 3 movies is a good strategy. Again, if you'd asked me to pick the person who I thought would be able to do that, his name would not even have occurred to me. Mm-hmm. But again, like you said, maybe he can prove us wrong. Especially if he's been involved with Rebels. That's one of my favorite Star Wars stories or shows, whatever you want to call it. And if he can bring that type of flavor to a new like trilogy, outside of even the Skywalker saga, I think it'd be good. Like you said, I'll be cautiously optimistic. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think I need Star Wars to be a little more concrete now than ever before. They announce all these things and nothing ever gets made, right? Kind of takes the wind out of your sails when just kind of peters out and it becomes dust in the wind. So I really need them to say, yes, we're doing this. Yes, here it is. Here's our dates. Here's our production schedules. Let's do it. When they did that with The Force Awakens, it was like a whirlwind of Star Wars, right, all at once. And that momentum just rode with it, and they really need to catch that momentum and do it again. But as you mentioned, he's worked on Star Wars Rebels with Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni's great, but he's not a one-man stand, right? He is someone who's built stories with everybody else around him and made that great. He didn't do it all single-handedly in a cave with a box of scraps, but he was able to, to do it with the team around him. And if he is working with Simon Kinberg again, and they can capture that Rebels stuff, if he can work, help with like how he did with The Force Awakens and Rogue One, 3 really strong Star Wars properties in the past 10 years, then yes, go for it. Knock it out of the park. All of you.
Right. I just, my own personal, what I would hope to see out of this is like a fully functioning, when I say new age, I don't mean like, incense and astronomy or astrology, but a new Jedi Order.
Yeah.
That might not necessarily be so adherent to the dogma that the ones from, the prequels were.
Yeah.
And to see how that works now in a, post Palpatine world.
Yeah, well, it's we never really got to see that because they jumped so quick into the First Order, which was essentially the remnants of the, Empire. I would like to see something different. Like, is this an age of akin to pirates and like plunderers, right? Like all the scum and villainy there's a power vacuum, and the people taking over aren't organized and technologically savvy. They're the people who are harnessing maybe, we found some old Jedi or Sith relics and we're trying to harness them for our way, right? Like utilizing ancient powers and stuff rather than like, we're just making another planet blower upper kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like maybe they get into like the bad, like maybe they go down. You remember those Star Wars novels from the '90s? The Yuzan Vong, the force insensitive
Oh,
people. So like they could
Yep.
finally pick that up and go down that route and bring their interpretation in. Star Wars Legends, the stuff they've cast aside, has been brought so much to Star Wars. They really never should have gotten rid of it like the way they did, but there's so many ways to bring it back and let it inform the canon going forward. So maybe they lean into those really, really good stories that are already created and bring them in that
Yeah,
way.
that would be.
Because they weren't technologically
And I guess
powerful
that's kind
people.
of what I was hinting at.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I was kind of going to say like the Jedi Academy trilogy.
Yeah. Yep.
Could have some good material to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you have to swap some names and everything, but the idea is still there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think there's some really, really cool ways to do it without just making them maskless or masked stormtroopers yet again. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next to another billion-dollar franchise, Avatar. The Ash and Fire, the upcoming release next year from James Cameron, as released some new concept art pieces down there. So we get to see. I've got links here. So you get to see what appear to be maybe like air Navi with these like big organic flying balloons. They kind of look like jellyfish in the sky, if you will.
Oh, okay.
On the first link here, if you can click through them and take a look as well in the show notes, Jim. I know you got them pulled up. Then we get to see another one of the flying creatures from the Ash tribe. Yeah, like they're really leaning into like some of the creatures in the worlds here. So the airships look really cool. The next the fire riding beast. I don't know what these creatures are called, so I apologize. It looks like a dragonfly / like bird of prey. He's got sharp teeth, very ferocious. We get into the Fire Nation Na'vi, which they use fire and ash. They're kind of more the worst of the Na'vi, if you will. Like if they were more selfish and violent. Looks like they're taking not Jake Sully, who's the main villain. I don't know his name, but it looks like they're taking him into custody along the way here. In the third image, and the fourth image is the Water Tribe again. Like the nice glowing lights, the fluorescent algae, the big whales. It looks like there's going to be a fire versus water kind of battle going on, maybe in this movie. Have you had a chance to watch Avatar 2, The Way of Water? Gonna take that as a no. We lost Jim, folks. He's nowhere to be found. He's probably enthralled with all of this great stuff here. Oh, his internet crashed. He just told me. So we're gonna put a pause in this and see how that goes. Actually, I'm gonna keep going because I want to see if he comes back, because we are technically live. You have to re-upload this anyway. But yeah, so we got stuff for Avatar Fire and Ash in the show notes. You can take a look at that. I really Avatar 2, The Way of Water really surprised me. I did not, I don't like the first one. I can go back into it. I'm like, it's obviously the Smurfs, Dances with Wolves, it's Pocahontas. But the second one really surprised me with how they were able to pick up on themselves and kind of go with that. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I can't explain why, really, at the end of the day, why I enjoyed it so much. But it was just a really, really good story. And we have Jim back. Jim, we're live, so I'm gonna keep rolling here. We were just talking about Avatar Fire and Ash. Were you able to see Avatar The Way of Water?
No.
Okay, that's fine. So then this isn't going to be much to you, but they are working towards obviously a Fire Nation versus a Water Nation. It all sounds like Avatar: The Last Airbender, if you ask me a little bit. But it's fine. This is going to be coming next year. The Way of Water surprised me. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. But you don't underestimate James Cameron. He's just raising the bar the whole time with whatever he touches. So
yeah, I need to visit that. I remember. I mean, when the first one came out, actually, a small bit of Mentira trivia. Um, I had got contacts for the first time and was able to watch that movie in 3D without having to have glasses over glasses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I enjoyed that. And then a few months later, my astigmatism was so bad that I was unable to wear contacts anymore. But I got to enjoy that for what it was in all of its glory.
There you go. I don't get that luxury, so I appreciate that you got to. Being blind in one eye does not help me with any 3D content at all.
Oh,
Along the way,
yeah.
no, it's fine. We watched the Fire Avatar Wave Water, the Disney World movie theater, the AMC. They had the laser projector, and I couldn't tell the difference with the laser. I was not really thoroughly impressed, but it was a good time. I just enjoyed it. I just really liked it a lot. We're gonna keep going, Jim. I'm gonna keep us rolling into the Batman here, and we got the Batman. And I don't know if you've been watching the Penguin. The Penguin ended its season run last night on HBO Max. But there have been rumors this week going around early on this week that Barry Keoghan's Joker was going to get a movie or his own TV series in between Batman 2 and 3, setting up for him being the Batman 3 villain, similar to the Penguin. And James Gunn came out and was like, no, this is not true. And I don't know where you're getting it from. We're not going to be doing anything like that. And I believe, my personal theory on this is that because the Joker is now on home streaming and is bombing, people are trying to find ways to make another Joker the focus of conversation and attention, because the most recent Joker didn't do so well twice in a row.
Right. And again, I haven't seen that one either, but mainly based off of your review.
I have never wanted to walk out of a movie so hard in my life. I still feel ill thinking about it, but continue.
Ugh. So to the Penguin, I've only seen the first 2 episodes. I actually just talked about this with a coworker tonight. He said he finished it and he was there's no reason it should be that good.
Mm-hmm.
He said it was just amazing, and I'm like, dang it, now I've got to get that one watched too. But I really enjoyed the Batman, and based off of some rumors that we've had earlier, I like the idea that if they do Hush for Batman 2 or the Batman 2, I think that would be kind of fun. It'd be something we've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not rehashing an old story. And it could be a fun take on the character, especially in that world that Matt Reeves made.
Well, he's also the character that fits the most. Like, I detest that Batman is getting more and more realistic. He's going to be grittier and more darker than ever before, and set in a very real universe where there's no chance of magic, mysticism, or anything, out of the ordinary. And Hush fits that vibe for the universe Reeves has built. That is essentially just, the Sopranos for Gotham.
James Gunn, if he wants to do his own Batman movie, I would absolutely love to see a cinematic take on Clayface.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like Matt Hagen, where he's like, a fleshy, gross T-1000 that runs around and can change his appearance and everything.
Yeah. Well,
that would be
and
something new to see.
And James Gunn, obviously they have Batman the Brave and the Bold on their release calendar with Damian Wayne. So they could set him up as like a ancillary character, kind of like how Nolan used Scarecrow as like a secondary villain in his movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that. And obviously Clayface had a huge role in the Harley Quinn series on Max as well, the animated one.
Yes.
As a character. Very, very funny, humorous take on the character as well. But
so I think audiences are ready to see something like that, is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Oh yeah, I think with Superman, we're gonna jump into it. Superman's our last topic here, and Superman is coming out next July. Yeah, near very close to Fantastic Four. I think earlier than Fantastic Four. And the rumor is that the Superman trailer will be coming out to Comic-Con Brazil, which is December 5th through 8th. Possibly teaser trailer, maybe not the full trailer, like a highlight reel that they make for expos. And then the prevailing theory, rumor, maybe even fact, that the full trailer for Superman will come out on Christmas Day during one of the 5 NBA games going on during Christmas Day. So,
oh yeah,
that'd be something to talk about with family over the holidays. But James Gunn's Superman is a world where heroes and villains already exist, and they exist in different capacities, right? The Hawk Girl, the Green Lantern, Superman, Crypto the Superdog, Jim, is in that world. So easily, if they have a Superdog, they can find a way to make a Clayface or some sort of a silly, I wouldn't say magical, but just like fantastical villains come to life in this world without having to overreach that. And at Creature Commandos in December, we'll introduce us to some of those very obscure, wacky characters along the way.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what they do with them. Because that again could be like another kind of like back to the Thunderbolts. It could be a really fun like group of misfits that get along together really well, but are kind of shunned by the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So I hope again they make them charming, and it, like you're saying, it's not just a dark and gritty and super serious show the entire time.
Yeah. Somebody else asked. I think I was reading an article today on James Gunn, and he said the timeline for everything coming up is for the DCU. Continuity is release order. So Creature Commandos is first, and it will feed into Superman, which will then feed into Peacemaker. Maybe not directly, but anything that happens in Peacemaker season 2 can reference anything from Creature Commandos, because Rick Flag Sr. is in Creature Commandos and Superman,
right?
And Peacemaker. So seeing that character progress will be, I guess, our connecting piece. And probably his wife. He loves including his wife in all of his products as well.
Yeah.
But if you can, you might as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to touch that, again, I guess I'm almost as big of a Superman fan as I am a Harrison Ford fan. And I'm really curious about this movie. I like the idea that it's going for the more, at least from the way it looks, the more lighter tone, and maybe embracing some of the goofier aspects of the character.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope they don't turn it into like, the 1960s version where he's got like the flying horse and all that stuff, but which I don't think they will, but it's always in the back of my mind.
Yeah. I just pull up a note, by the way, just now, since we've been recording. James Gunn's confirmed that the trailer for Superman is now finished and quote unquote on my hard drive. So he has it. So we might have it literally within the month.
And if he dropped it over Thanksgiving, that would be good.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Don't they always have not always? Don't they usually have a Superman float in the Thanksgiving Day parade?
I mean, they used to have a balloon. I don't know if it's still a big been around.
Balloons. I know Goku from Dragon Ball's got one this year, so buckle up, Buckaroos.
Oh, there you go.
That's how you know. Let's see here. 2024. It's 2024, right?
Yes.
Spider-Man, Minnie Mouse, Paw Patrol, Goku, Gabby, and Elf on the Shelf. Who's Gabby? This is a DreamWorks animation thing for Gabby's Dollhouse. So those are the ones we have so far. So we'll see if anybody else makes it through. I always thought Superman had one. It would make sense for Superman to be flying around through,
Yeah, you'd think.
Through the city.
But no, I'm just having flashbacks to when the Force Awakens teaser dropped on Black Friday.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. We had to update our card for C2E2 with the Chewie We're Home reference.
Oh yeah.
For that year.
So yeah, that if they could do something like that, that would be pretty special.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And James Gunn will. I mean, obviously he knows when to drop things. I was trying to think. Does Warner Brothers have any movies coming out the rest of this year that you can think of?
Not big ones.
Let's see here. Red One. Oh, that was last week.
Oh, that's a Warner Brother movie. Okay.
Yeah. I thought it was. I
keep thinking that's a Netflix movie.
I do too, or a Prime movie.
Yeah.
United States on November 15th. So on this Friday. I don't think he's going to release it this week, but it is a Warner Brothers movie coming out this week. So it's the last one of the year. Their last chance to save themselves.
It could be one of those things where they put it on. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but it could be one of those things they put him on Thanksgiving weekend to hopefully boost a few numbers for people to go see it again.
I lied. There are two other movies. Sweethearts is coming out, and I don't know that one. Then The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. Warner Brothers is just distributing it. So it could be out through that if we get it, but obviously it doesn't. They didn't put the Kraven trailer in front of Venom 3, so who knows? They want eyes on the trailer, not butts in seats, probably. So we'll probably get some of this stuff as we go. But yeah, I'm excited to see the Superman trailer. I want to see the footage. All the set photos and the promo photos have been fun, but by God, Jim, let's see this Superman in action.
Exactly. I want to see him move.
Yep. I want to see his powers. I want to see everybody else. I want to see Nathan Fillion with that Red Bull haircut. So
yes.
All right. Well, Jim, that has been the episode. Thank you for stepping up. Even though you had a small internet crash in the middle of it, I was able to, we salvaged it. We were able to pull through. So that's the best part about this.
Good.
Just having a conversation, just a couple dudes having a conversation about superheroes and stuff throughout the week. So thank you for stepping up. If people want to know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at, buddy?
I am at HF, like Harrison Ford, 605 on pretty much all social media and video game consoles.
Awesome. And
where can say if people want to ask you more about who Bob is, where can they reach out to you?
Bob, Dragon Ball, whatever you want. I'll talk about anything right now. You can find me on Instagram, Valdan87, Valdan, or also Video Game Systems of the same name, where I literally have the same name across everything because it's easier that way, right, Jim? Just to have one name forever.
Oh yeah.
Once you have that moniker, you just roll with it.
Exactly.
Do you know how to finish the rest of the episode? You got it from here, or do you mean to take
it? Sure. Nope, I got it. So, as always, please visit superheroslate.com. We have a great timeline for any movies coming out. You can find the show notes. You want to look up that trailer that we talked about with the Red Hulk, or even the Thunderbolts, find it on there. It's everything in one area just for you. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, and more. And then lastly, this is near and dear to my heart. You can get a Superhero Slate swag shirt or sticker, or can you get mugs now?
Mugs, mouse pads, whatever they have at one of those print shops with our logo on it, we'll take it.
Nice. So it's superheroslate.com/store, where you can proudly display your fandom as much as I do.
Yes, thank you for doing that. I do appreciate it. I wear a lot of Superhero Slate shirts. Nobody knows what it is, but I still wear them because the quality of the stuff that comes out of there is pretty solid as well.
Oh yeah.
And if people want to become a super fan, Jim, such as yourself, how do they become super fans?
Oh, that's easy enough. You share the show with a friend, you share the show with a buddy, and as always, you can find us right here.
That's right. We'll be here every week, including next week.
Yep. So,
we'll see you guys.
There you go. I'll see you later. Bye.